Hey guys, this is Tejas Gosai for Real Estate Investor MBA, and we have our first on-site interview, and it's here in Allentown. We are with the folks that created the Real Estate Lab, and Yusuf, I am not going to do a better intro than you can. Can you tell us why we're here, what you're doing, and about this beautiful place?
Yeah, we're here to make sure everyone has access to the knowledge networks and capital to get started and to understand the opportunities that exist in real estate operation, real estate management, real estate development. So the Real Estate Lab is a public-private partnership between the Dyer Center at Lafayette College, where I serve as the executive director, and City Center Allentown, led by J.B. Riley and the competent folks helping to revitalize downtown Allentown.
Yep. And we're here in downtown Allentown, obviously a very good location for a place to organize folks. What kind of people are you bringing in? What's the, I know you're teaching them real estate. What's the goal for the students?
Yeah, the goal for the students is, acquisition of their first investment property. The Real Estate Lab wasn't designed to just be an intellectual exercise. Real estate is a contact sport, and so the goal is to provide the knowledge, provide the networks, and provide the capital so that they can actually get started. And we're incredibly excited because 3 of our first 9 participants have already acquired their first investment property.
That's huge, and the program is fairly new?
Yeah, so the program is a little bit older than 1 year, and we started in the midst of the pandemic.
Good.
So we had fielded our first cohort. We had put the message out. We had our grand opening reception prior to the reception, and then COVID hit. And we did our first session virtually, and it was clear to all of us that it just wasn't a sustainable model. You didn't have that interaction, that energy that comes from being in the same room with each other. And, we're all entrepreneurs, and we decided we had to solve that problem. It was too easy, too convenient to just say we need to delay this. And quite frankly, the problem is too urgent. When you look at who has access to the opportunities in a real estate market, when you look at who owns, the properties in these communities, too often it's not the folks from these communities. So this is a problem we were committed to solving, and the Real Estate Lab is our effort to do so.
So let's say I'm a student. I'm from the area. I decide to, join the program. And so with funding, with finding a property, this is a crazy environment. The Lehigh Valley has been going bananas. And COVID, if anything, I think, really made things even more wild because so many people moved here. So it's hard to find a property, it's hard to find a bank, it's hard to find all those pieces. So you're putting them all in place, and then they can, buy property in Bethlehem, Allentown, Quakertown. Is it the whole Lehigh Valley? Is it a specific type of property?
Yeah, so of course they can buy property where they can find a good deal. Now, if they want to access the Innovation Fund, which is the dedicated capital pool we have to support our program participants, that project needs to be in Allentown. But I tell our participants, I bought my first property in 2007. And people don't remember what that time period was like, but there's
crazy.
Really some telling parallels to this present moment. So 2007 was right before the foreclosure crisis. And it was not easy to find a deal. And so, I had to drive around to neighborhoods, blocks, and I would look for the properties that had a whole bunch of people hanging out on the porch. It was clearly not well maintained.
Yeah.
And I said to myself, okay, that person's probably not collecting their rent. So I looked up who owned it on the city's website. I give them a call and say, hey, I'm your neighbor. I own a property down the street. Would love to talk to you and see if you're interested in selling that property. And that's how I acquired my first 6 properties.
Wow.
Right? I did not use a realtor until the foreclosure crisis, when the deals were just everywhere.
Awesome.
So, listen, there's never an ideal moment, but you have to get started. You have to take action in what we're teaching them, quite frankly, which is how to buy a property that produces positive cash flow that works in a hot market, it works in a cold market, it works in all markets, right? And so they might have to work a little bit harder to find their deals, but that's not an excuse not to get started.
Now, how long is the program?
Yeah.
Is it, I think it's 10 weeks?
Yeah, so it's a 10-week program, and it takes you through the entire life cycle of acquiring a property, right? So we talk about diligence, we talk about management, we talk about closings and everything that's involved with the property, but we start off with the investor mindset, right? Because if you're going to successfully operate a property or own a property, it's starting a business. And so you need to have that mindset. You need to understand things like delayed gratification. You need to understand you make, your first couple $1,000s. That's not for you to go buy a nice car. That's for you to put back into the business. And we also teach them about credit, because leverage is what makes this business.
Sure.
And you can't access the credit markets unless you have a good credit history. And so with a lot of our participants, starting from the very beginning, they have to give us their credit score at the start of the program, and we work with them individually to try to strengthen that score over the ensuing 10 weeks.
That's awesome. I got to ask, is there anything like this around here?
Not in the Lehigh Valley. I mean, there's other efforts to help widen the pipeline of property owners in underrepresented and underinvested communities. But I would say the real estate lab is unique in that, one, it's a public-private partnership. So, we are bringing our expertise and talent to the table. And I think I had mentioned earlier, we're a very data-driven entity here at the Real Estate Lab. And we have one of our students, a computer science student, build us a homegrown CRM, a customer relationship management system. And so we track all these data points for our participants. And that allows us to really give, I think, more substantive feedback in terms of how they're performing. And it gives us a more nuanced way of measuring their participation in the program.
You can predict some success and make sure that it sticks.
And so that I also think is unique. And, we plan to open source that software to other, folks who are interested in starting something similar to the Real Estate Lab. We think that level of precision and insight into participant performance, it's the key to making these things work.
That's awesome. So, Real Estate Lab, how do you become a part of this? How do you join the next batch? Or, how do you be in the next applicant pool? So
you can go to our website. You can fill out an application. Definitely follow us on social media. But here are the requirements. You need to have a job. One of the first things we stress to our participants: this isn't overnight success. This isn't overnight wealth. If you're trying to if you're trying to get rich tomorrow, this is not the pathway you want to go down. So oftentimes, you're working a job. It's funny. All of our lab instructors, all of us have or used to work a job while building our portfolio. So I actually worked as a software developer for half a dozen years before I had enough units where I could do it full time. So you have to have a job. You have to be bankable within 1 year. Okay, so you don't have to be bankable at this moment, but we need to be able to see a pathway to get you bankable. And then you need to be able to put the time in.
Have to. It's the only way to win.
It's the only way.
So we're going to talk to a couple of your other colleagues here and hopefully meet some of the students. So for someone who wants to get into the program, or one of our listeners, what's one big piece of advice you can give to the folks that are looking to get into real estate?
Well, I think first and foremost, you have to be honest with yourself. Real estate is not for everybody, right? This is a people business. And if you don't enjoy dealing with people, because as a landlord, you deal with all different types of people, then it's probably not the business for you. And, is this something, if you love people and you love to work hard, I think there's huge opportunity in this space. And, one of the most gratifying elements of this program for me, because all the folks involved donate their time.
That's right.
Okay, excellent. So all of my time, all of Matt's time, John's time, this is all donated time. And what's so gratifying is real estate changed my life. It put me in a position where I was able to do what I wanted to do rather than what I had to do for the first time in my life. And to be able to pay that forward to other enterprising and motivated folks in Allentown is a real privilege.
It's the best thing you can do. We certainly appreciate it. A lot of our folks are trying to figure out their way in, and this is just a tremendous thing. So what's the website again?
The website is realestatelaballentown.com.
Thank you so much, Joseph.
Appreciate it.